Today I'm here with Mr. Samir from Electra EV.
I'm Samir Yajnik. I'm the CEO and Executive Director of Electra EV. The long form is Electro Drive Powertrain Solutions. We're a company out of India, but now growing, working with Indian OEMs to now looking at the Middle East. And we've obviously done a little bit of work outside of India as well, including in Germany. We're a pure play EV powertrain company. So all we do is work very closely with OEMs to help them electrify both newborn EV platforms as well as conversions, but primarily, bring to market faster EV vehicles. We started with four wheelers. Now we're looking at three wheelers. We're looking at trucks. We've also launched or helped OEMs launch new products in the market in India primarily. And we've got a lot of our powertrains running in the Indian markets at least. We pick up information, we improve our powertrains, and now we have the ambition to go globally.
That's a wonderful introduction. We've got a few questions. What are unique benefits and features? So now I'm sure that being an EV company that you're building powertrains. So are you building indigenous? Do you have patents that you've already created? And also for the platforms, how many car companies have you already approached or have they approached you to take it to the next level?
Good questions, Vinay. It was first very important for us to ensure that whoever we work with and work for, um, we stabilize our entire product. And when we say product, it's a solution that we provide. So ours is basically, yes, in house we do the full battery pack. We also design, develop, homologate a full traction solution, all the power electronics that go with it. In terms of IP, we hold our own IP on our BMS. The central vehicle control unit is also ours. So we tailor it for different applications. But essentially, we're a solutions company. So, which means that we take some things we do ourselves, something we get made. For example, we don't do electronic boards, we get them made, but we write the software on top of it. Most importantly, is we energy optimize our solutions so that the vehicle that's launched works for the application in the country, in the environment that it's supposed to operate in effectively and efficiently. That's our business, that's what we do. So, how do we work with OEMs? First, we get it right for our various architectures. Then, we have just very recently, in the last 9 months, started to approach other OEMs because in the past we worked primarily with one or two OEMs. In fact, Tata Motors is a big one that we worked with. We also work with another company called Gensol EV, who is to bring their products in the market, the three wheeler product that they're bringing. But so far, for Tata Motors, we have helped them on a platform called the Express T, which is running about all over India. These are taxi fleets that are EVs. And the other one that we have helped Tata Motors launch, the CV division, is the Ace EV. So there again, it's a 96 volt full architecture that we have launched. We've also now looking at our 300 and 600 volt platform launches. But get it right first, now approach other OEMs that have ambitions to bring to India as well as to the overseas markets simultaneously. And we not only do cars, we also do three wheelers, we also do LCVs, we also are looking to do off highway platforms such as excavators and tractors and others. So, looking at diverse areas simultaneously.
That sounds great. So I think a lot of people are going hybrid, but I'm sure the numbers are going to go up from there. What are the biggest challenges facing the electric vehicle industry in India, particularly? Because I'm sure, as we all know, with EVs, it's more on aerodynamics, it's the range, the infrastructure, obviously, to make EVs more successful and to have mass adoption. What are your thoughts?
I think this, first and foremost, I'm very impressed by the way this show has been organized, the MENA EV show. Very happy to be here, must say. Very compact organization, lots of networking. So, coming to your question, I think it's not dissimilar to other parts of the world. The challenges are that of range anxiety, which is got to do with having the infrastructure in place. However, I have to compliment the Indian government around 2017, the kind of fillip they gave through their initial forays of Fame 1 and Fame 2, incentives that they have given by the government to uh, multiple stakeholders, not just OEMs, but also the charging side of it, the finance kind of equations, etc. That's really given a big boost to the EV market. The challenges now are the following. I mean, one is, let's look at it multifold. To the OEMs, it is that still the market has not reached a certain scale. It's okay for the Tata Motors to have done reasonably well in the initial stages, but the market is defined by a number of players who are there, and a very growing adoption. Adoption has been there, but it's been rapid from the small numbers. You can obviously look at the huge growth that's happening, but from an overall perspective, it's still slow. It's still happening, but at a certain speed, which means the scale isn't there. Which means when scale is not quite there, then you're looking at companies who are experimenting with bringing maybe a few sets of cars or vehicles in the market. The LCV is promised to be a big space where a lot of different fleet guys are pushing the adoption of goods moving from one place to the other. So I think infra, the fact that scale isn't there, uh, technology moves ahead, and lots of Indian companies are jumping in and saying, try our technology, whether it's different kinds of batteries, even hydrogen is looked at seriously, biofuels, there's metal air batteries, there's all kinds of changes, traction units, which are different types. So I think it'll stabilize. There are lots of startup companies who will probably align themselves with other larger players who are in the EV powertrain space, or get gobbled up by OEMs who are essentially going to have to do some themselves, some working with companies like us. So, technology diversification is one challenge. Two is not mass adoption yet. Standards have just evolved, so charging infrastructure is beginning to now see some form of standardization, and the diversity of India, and obviously the supporting infrastructure not being there. So OEMs are highly challenged, so are we. I still think that the government incentives are such, the push is such that India is really visibly seeing growth, and there are lots of companies who are ambitious to see it not only as an Indian context but as a world context. So I think things will look good in the future for India.
Definitely. So India is definitely the next high player in the market for all things EV. I'm sure even Tesla as a company is looking to make a huge factory there, but with the lower priced entry point
I want to make a
vehicles.
point there, maybe, if I may. One thing I did miss out is India is a highly price sensitive country. So, one of the challenges is to look at the lithium prices, and of course, lithium ion are the major contributors to BEVs. And now it's beginning to see that mass adoption, because I think lithium prices are going down, but it's been rather unstable. Lithium as well as electronic prices have been all over the map in the last 2 3 years. Now it's beginning to stabilize, and whether it's Tesla or whoever wants to come into the Indian market, sensitivity has to be there. So it's not low quality, but good quality at low price.
Yes, that's correct. So obviously, there's going to be a lot of advantage in technology. There's going to be battery, as you rightly said. There is going to be a lot of forward thinking, like solid state batteries. There's been talks about a salt based battery, right? NASA's own batteries that they've been operating till date in space, but not yet good for the consumers, right? So I think battery being the heart of the entire battery EV electric, and that's where I think the majority of the cost is, correct? But yeah, like you said, being price sensitive, so how do you think Electra EV is positioned to meet most of these challenges, at least from a perspective of going with a mass adoption?
First, I'll talk a little bit about batteries and then about our approach. India traditionally has not taken early steps in making cells, different chemistry cells. Okay, mostly has come from either Korea or China primarily. the cells. I'm talking about the original cells. More recently, in the last year and a half to two, government has given a huge incentive. It's called the PLI for ACC battery for all those who want to jump in and start making gigafactories in India. There are more than a half a dozen companies that have forayed into it, and independently, the Tatas are also looking at India as well as the UK. Just want to emphasize that Electra EV is not a Tata company. We are a non-aligned, independent company, but we closely work with the Tata Motors and the Tata Group as such. But coming back to the issue of batteries, until battery cells are made in India, whether or not it's with collaborations from the West or the Far East, it has to be made in India. Until such time, it's going to have to be imported. Electra EV is the neutral technology, neutral to the form factors and all kinds of neutrality. So we are working with all kinds of batteries, whether they are lithium ion, NMC, LFP, more importantly, prismatic, cylindrical, all form factors. Also looking at metal air in a big way, and we are also going to move along the solid state bandwagon, but it's still yet to come. So all cell companies, we are also very close to some large Chinese cell companies who are global. They're not just in China; they are all over. So yeah, CALB, S Volt, EVE, lots of them we are working closely with. But we are gearing up to transition the journey, so that we are currently working with companies who are there in China, even Samsung and others who want to be in India. But in the future, we will work with companies who are making in India and work with them as well, so that we can bring solutions to the market, not only in India but globally. So we're kind of closely watching. We've also got a sourcing cell in China, working closely with our friends in China.
So basically, you guys are the platform or the infrastructure providers for at least to jumpstart the companies or the OEMs into the EV space without them having to spend too much time on the research, because then you guys are taking care of that, right?
Sure.
What are your thoughts now, since you are building the platform? So I would probably say you are one part of the heart of the battery electric vehicles in India. So what are your thoughts on the future of electric transportation within India?
I think it's super exciting. I think what's happening is technology will be spawning new solutions to the market. But most importantly, end users, end customers, both B2B and B2C, they're going to drive the way this is shaped. So it's going to be a confluence of technology, people like us who can bring to market faster for OEMs, and ultimately the end user that's going to see a plethora of different applications, different technologies, seeing their way into powertrains that not only will be cost effective, but also can be deployed across the globe, not just in India. So I do see a huge potential for companies that are based out of India going global. But then we're in a global village, so doesn't matter where you originate from. If you got great technology here in Dubai, we'd be happy to take it into India or anywhere else in the world.
On this point of battery electric vehicles in India, I have to get a bit off topic to also commemorate the fact that with India's own space agency, as an example, where billions were spent in the Western world, but it was one fourth of the cost. So I think we're pretty good in bringing affordability to the market, because not everybody, like you said, they are price conscious, they are price sensitive. So bringing the affordability to India and by extension to the rest of the world, because I'm sure we can definitely lead. So what are your thoughts on that? How to on making electric vehicles and the platforms more affordable to everyone? So obviously you've got the platform. What are your future prospects, and how are you looking to gear with either OEM cell makers to make it a lot more affordable for Indians?
Vinay, this is probably the most important point, that we do not have a platform unless it is cost effective. So there are two statements I will make, which is our starting point with, in fact, the OEMs we work with. We say we are a company that's designing for cost and manufacturing for flexibility and cost, which means we upfront ask which market, what's the price point of the overall product and therefore the powertrain, And if we don't design it right for the price, which is again a moving target, then we don't have a platform. So it's has to be both designed for cost, modular, and equally importantly, we've invested a lot on the manufacturing side, which means, and that also has to be designed and manufactured for flexibility because today technology is evolving in such a way that things can change. So you don't want to build a line, for example, a battery line, which is within 6 to 9 months will become defunct. So you have to think about the changes that are coming, right? So you have to manufacture for flexibility, design for cost, and manufacture for both for cost and so affordability is on the top of our minds. And if our OEM who we work with is not bringing it up, we will bring it up. So we are very interested, by the way, also in African markets, in the Middle Eastern markets where sensitivity of cost is important. But I believe African markets are getting very buoyant, and there too, technologies that we basically build in India can be very much applied. So we incubate in India and apply it globally. That's what we have an aspiration to do.
There's one final question I would like to ask. So, obviously, with the advent of the technology platform that's coming up, AI, the biggest topic that's happening out there, what are your thoughts on how it could possibly make the platforms or the work that we do a lot more easier, efficient? Just your general thoughts on that.
Look, AI and machine learning is not new to the EV world. I mean, machine learning is quintessential to how we learn from what's going on and how, for example, our batteries are being used. So each data that we pick up from the field is massaged, analyzed, both using machine learning as well as using our own learning, and we use that to improve our powertrain. AI in future is going to further enhance the capability of dynamically improving the way cells are balanced or improved so that the performance of the batteries are much better in the field. It's not new to us. IoT, AI, and machine learning, these are all concepts well known, already ingrained in our design, and in future is going to further enhance the way not only powertrains are built but also vehicles are used out there. And usage and application is a big thing for us. So it's there. It's not, you can't deny it, and we welcome it. In fact.
This is Samir from Electra EV. You can check them out on electraev.com. Also, thank you for your participation in the Meena EV show. I'm sure you've loved the crowd out here. This is Vinay from Business Tabloid. Thank you so much again for your time.